Esther Kim Lee to our department.
Thank you, Professor Wu, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you to Dr. Che for organizing and coordinating everything, making this really easy for me to come today. And thank you to everyone here for coming on a Friday morning. Before I start, I want to get a sense of how much knowledge you have in Hwang. So would you let me know if you've seen any plays by Hwang? Which play?
And Butterfly.
Oh, where, can I ask?
Chicago.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then how many of you actually read plays by Hwang?
More than a few.
Yeah, okay. So besides the envelope, Butterfly, can you yell some titles out to me? Besides one.
Chinglish.
Chinglish?
Golden Child.
Golden Child. Okay.
Yellow Face.
Yellow Face. Okay. All right, great. So that gives me a sense of kind of the audience I'll be speaking to. Thank you. So 2012 is when I received an invitation to write this book from the editors of the BK21 Critical Companion series. And this series is part of a British publishing company, Bloomsbury Company. So this company has published a series of books on major playwrights. And because it is a Britain-based company, most playwrights before Hwang were British or Irish playwrights. So this was one of the first American playwrights to be featured. So when I received this invitation, I was told that this will be a hybrid between monograph and a collection. So this is an excerpt from, and I'm showing this to you because I want to make academic work transparent. So, when your relatives ask what do, you don't go into some room, come up with a book. That's not how it happens. So I'm a really advocate. I want to advocate making academic work transparent. So I want to make this process of writing transparent. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about publication, how do you write a book, and things like that. So this particular book had to be a hybrid, that I write most of the book, but then this is, a part of it had to be a collection. So this is from an email I received from the editor. She said, the principal author is charged with establishing a unifying idea about the subject, in this case Hwang, so that what may at first appear as disparate work project styles are framed in a way that allows them to be productively read together and that offers a critical survey of playwrights' major works. There are 4 additional contributors selected and edited by the principal author and who may be scholars or artists, write shorter essays on the following subjects. So I was charged to be the author of a book that kind of the first book people will go to study Hwang, and also collect essays that really, kind of provided a different perspective on Hwang, something that I would not be able to do. And I took that charge seriously. So, and this is the table of contents. This is what I came up with. I organized the book roughly chronologically. So I start with his first trilogy from the early 80s on, and I move on to what I call kind of the phase of love, death, and resurrection, when Hwang was almost kind of obsessively writing about tragic love and resurrection. And then, of course, and Butterfly, which is his biggest success, and which will be revived on Broadway this October. Directed by Julie Taymor, who directed Lion King and Spider-Man, major Broadway director. So I'm looking forward to that, so that's going to be interesting. So I dedicated an entire chapter on Butterfly, and then I followed that up with his subsequent plays in the 90s, and then the kind of the latest one. So today I'll be talking about the last play I studied, and he's continuing to write, so I can't delay my publication. So I'll be talking about his last play at the time I was writing this book, Kung Fu. The second part of the book, which is chapter 6, I provide perspectives from 3 authors, major authors, Josephine Lee, Dan Bacalzo, and Daphne Lay. And I deliberately wanted to provide very, very different perspectives. So Daphne Lay, for example, she is bilingual, so she speaks Mandarin and I think a little bit of Cantonese. So she was able to provide a study of Chinglish as produced in Hong Kong and translation, and how, because Chinglish is about Chinese and English mixed up together, and the kind of studies of mistranslation. So what happens when you actually translate that play into Cantonese? And she interviews actresses that had to deal with this kind of thing. So that's something I'm not able to do. So that happened. And then I have a chronology that goes from really beginning of his life to the end. So my talk is focused on one play, but if you have questions later on that kind of deals with more broad, comprehensive aspect of his life and his work, I'd be happy to answer those. Okay? So we all know about Bruce Lee, whether it is the iconic fighting pose, the intense face, or the famous yellow jumpsuit. We've seen images of Bruce Lee. We may also know that he was born in San Francisco, grew up in Hong Kong, and returned to the US and studied philosophy at the University of Washington in Seattle. And about how he met and married his wife Linda, who's a white woman in Seattle. We have heard about how he became a major movie star and celebrity in Hong Kong after he left the US. We certainly know about his sudden death at the age of 32. Bruce Lee has become a legend. There are numerous books, documentaries, and even mockumentaries about him. His legendary status as cultural icon seems to grow, and our fascination with the man and his influence has not ceased. When the Chinese-American playwright Hwang announced that he would be writing a play about Bruce Lee, many wondered how he would tell the story of the man whose life and death have spawned a vast number of stories, ranging from biographies to fantasy novels. Would Hwang dramatize his life in a documentary style? Would he focus on the death and immoral status it has created? Or would he create Bruce Lee's kung fu movies for the theater, which would be really cool if he actually did that. At the beginning, Hwang knew that the play would have so-called, quote, music and movement, quote, and require an elaborate production. Today, I would like to provide an interpretation of kung fu in the context of Hwang's development and status as a major American playwright. I trace two narratives, one of Bruce Lee, as told by Hwang, and the other, the playwright himself. How does the most famous Asian American playwright dramatize a legendary Asian celebrity? How does Hwang represent Bruce Lee as an Asian American character? And how does a play reveal Hwang's style of playwriting? What meanings can we extract from the theatricalized body of Bruce Lee? The play Kung Fu was commissioned by Signature Theater in New York City, which devoted the 2013-14 season to Hwang. Has anyone been to Signature Theater in New York City? You should. It's one of the cheaper places to go on Broadway. Signature Theater is known as a company that selects one playwright per year to showcase their career. According to the website, Signature is the first theater company to devote an entire season to the work of a single playwright, including re-examinations of past writing as well as New York and world premieres. By championing in-depth exploration of a living playwright's body of work, the company delivers an intimate and immersive journey into the playwright's singular vision. Alex Mitchell of New York Times, who's a major critic of the New York Times, writes, yes, you can win a fellowship from Guggenheim or Rockefeller Foundation, Hwang has won both, to prove your playwriting prowess. But in the American theater, nothing tops a signature season. Among Hwang's predecessors are Arthur Miller, Edward Albee, Sam Shepard, and August Wilson. This is not the first time Hwang has been compared to the so-called great American playwrights. As early as 1989, Time magazine compared Hwang to Arthur Miller. Hwang has become a major American playwright and the only Asian American playwright to be produced on Broadway, which will be changed next year when Young-Jin Lee goes on Broadway. She will be the first Asian American female playwright and second Asian American playwright to be on Broadway. He has been an articulate spokesperson, both willingly and unwillingly, of Asian American theater. His plays have been produced around the world, and he's a popular speaker who is invited to share his views on theater. Hwang has become a legend of his own in American theater. Here is how his story goes. He wrote his first play, FOB, as a senior at Stanford University, and he was an English major. The play was produced by Joseph Papp at the Public Theater. The play won the Obie Award, which was his first of many. And of course, he won his first Tony for M. Butterfly, only at the age of 31. His play Chinglish was on Broadway, and Yellow Face was on National Theatre in London. There have been efforts to make him great American playwright, and we seem to have one in each racial group in the U.S. August Wilson for African American theater, Luis Valdez for Chicano theater, etc. Whether it is multicultural tokenism or something else, Hwang represents Asian American theater. And what he represents has been questioned by many, including Hwang himself. Nevertheless, he has reached the level of success most playwrights can only dream of. Signature Theater's choice to select Hwang in that season and to commission a new play gave him a rare opportunity to write about a play that could showcase his singular vision. And I want you to think about what this means. Like, what is a singular vision of any playwright? So my task today is to explain it from my perspective, Hwang's singular vision. It's kind of my interpretation of what I think that is. His latest play, Kung Fu, was thus written and produced when he knew that his career and body of work would be scrutinized and celebrated. Why then did he choose to write about Bruce Lee? And why did he write it in a style that requires music, dance, movements, and elaborate production? Lots of lights, spectacle. One can say that he wanted a big show, one that would have commercial appeal and turn a profit for the company that commissioned it. The name Bruce Lee certainly draws attention. As far as I can tell, he wanted to experiment with a different form of theater. Initially, he wanted to create a musical version of the play, but after numerous attempts, he decided against it. Can you guess why he decided against it? Well, his reason is that he could not make Bruce Lee sing. Can you imagine Bruce Lee singing? Instead of a musical, the form he decided on is a danceicle. A theatrical form in which dialogue-based play has dance numbers throughout for dramatic effect. Music is still an essential part of the show, but the characters do not sing. The result is that of a fast-paced, highly choreographed, theatricalized show with actors moving in and out of dialogue-based scenes in intricately choreographed dance numbers. Before I go on with my analysis, let me provide a short description of the play and explain a few specific choices Hwang made. First of all, the play is a biographical rendition. It is based on Hwang's interaction with Bruce Lee's wife, Linda Lee, who, according to Hwang, liked his version of the biography. Many scenes and dialogues are based on actual events, and parts of the play can be described as biographical documentary. But at the same time, the story Hwang tells is fluid in time and space, and of course the dance numbers are overtly theatrical and fantastical. One would think that the obvious choice to focus on when writing a bioplay about Bruce Lee would be to dramatize how he became a worldwide celebrity with the movies he made in Hong Kong. After all, his movies, popular movies, and his sudden death have made him immortal. Hwang, however, sets the play in Seattle, Los Angeles, Hong Kong, and India, 1959 and 1971, and this is right before Bruce Lee became famous. Bruce Lee was born in 1940 and left the US in 1971 after realizing that he would never get a lead role in Hollywood. What most people know about Bruce Lee happened after 1971 in Hong Kong. During the years in which this play is set, Bruce Lee was in the US, attending university, marrying Linda, trying to make himself known as a martial arts teacher, an actor. He was not known. And I hope this video works. I'll show you a video. If it doesn't work, we could just skip ahead. Oh, there's no sound?
Oh.
Okay. If it's too complicated, no. Or we could play on this speaker here. That's fine. Just turn on the volume on this one. No, I'll just speak through it because I want you to see the movements and just remind you of, yeah, this is what I want you to see. Okay. And this is a Bruce Lee that we are familiar with, him beating up white guys and being really cool. Okay. And then because I'm talking about choreography, all of these movements of fighting were part of the dance that he performed. So another image of Bruce Lee is him sounding really wise. Be like water. They have posters of Bruce Lee saying, be like water. So this is the popular image of Bruce Lee that we're all familiar with. Okay. Very heroic, very masculine, very cool, suave, very attractive. Okay. And then I'll stop here and then after that you get to Hwang giving his explanation of why he wanted to write a play about him before all of this. Okay. All right. So the way you just saw, I mean, it's kind of more visual, is more important. It's a typical way Bruce Lee's biography is told. Hwang is interviewed in the video and states that he wanted to explore the time before Bruce Lee became famous. He also states that he was surprised to learn how much Lee suffered. I'll come back to this point about suffering later in the talk. The play Kung Fu opens with Bruce Lee, a college student at the University of Washington, practicing his martial arts move at a gym and working as a waiter at Ruby Chow's restaurant, which is still in Seattle. You can go see. In the first scene, he tries to impress a Japanese-American girl with his martial arts move. She rejects him after kissing him, saying, "It feels like, I don't know, kissing one of my brothers." Bruce Lee replies in heavy Hong Kong accent, which I'm not going to do, but I will read the way it was written. "Shh, I know what need. Man, so strong. So you are receiving protection. True Chinese man, as if to be your hero." That's the way the dialogue is written. But the way it's spoken is the way that Bruce Lee speaks, very heavy Hong Kong version of English accent. Throughout the play, Lee speaks in this really heavy accent. And the opening scene is interrupted by the appearance of Bruce Lee's father, who was